mid lane, but has been dominating elsewhere on the map. As we get into Champion Select, let's find out how these first bans are going to go, because they're far more pivotal this series than in a lot of others that we've seen.
Zoe now going to be the first ban of choice, maybe Galio.
LS, sorry, I needed to interrupt you because...
Yes. Hit me with it.
We've got two.
Do you have some information? Are they going to pick Karthus?
Pretty storied Zed players in this game. Zed got buffed on 9.4. Just look, Pawn. If anyone's going to pick Zed, it's going to be Pawn. Okay. He played Talent.
I thought you were going to squeeze in the Karthus. I thought you.
I should have just said Karthus to make you happy, right? And it's like, oh, he's going to be happy with what I say if I just say Karthus, Karthus, Karthus at the end of the sentence.
Well, there's the first two bans. Big surprise there.
Hey, but this does show that they are following exactly your drafting advice, which is what we need SKT to do, because they've got to make intelligent decisions here in this draft. Fake is going to lose one of those engage tools.
Kalista now could potentially be banned away. Alternatively, could actually probably ban Thresh, I guess, if you really wanted to. Telecom only.
I think Vladimir or Jace need to be banned right here. I think Jace is probably higher priority and blind pickable top laner. Silas is going to be the choice.
Okay. Very surprising that SK Telecom on the red side ends up banning that away. Now, Jason York are still open.
Yeah, the top lane pool hasn't been touched.
Could maybe just open. Okay, well.
Love it.
Vladimir is the first pick of choice. Now, again, it is a flexible pick, so you can't just pick directly for it right now. Now, you could just snap back Kalista Galio or Kalista Thresh and hand the draft back over to Kingzone and see how they would want to approach that.
Problem is if you don't pick the Jace here, Kingzone are just happy to grab it, right? Because they can still truly flex both the Vladimir and the Jace between mid and top lane. And they're going to take the LeBlanc as well, so giving away their solo lanes most likely here. Of course, chances of flexibility for the Jace, but that's going to be Faker's LeBlanc into Pawn. And I don't want to go back to 2015 MSI, but every time I see the LeBlanc into Pawn, I always want to. Imagine if they just pick Morgana as a troll pick here and give it to Tucson.
They should hover it.
Oh, that would be really, really funny.
The hover would be the best thing possible.
Well, Kaz's Aatrox has actually been very strong in recent games, so I do not want that to be flexed towards the top lane. I think that they're picking for themselves right now. I really like this. That's a Karma. All right.
Okay, so the Karma is also able to be flexed, and now if you're SK Telecom, knowing that this is everything that's face up, there's not a lot of junglers banned away. You don't need to select a jungler right here, as not enough can actually be pinched, especially not with a Jason and LeBlanc. There are so many things that are
especially not with Clid on your roster, right? Because this guy has shown mastery on so many different picks, but instead he's going to go to his favorite one, and the Lee Sin is going to be locked away. Maybe that's a matchup thing. What do you think about Lee Sin into the Aatrox, if that's what we're going to get?
I think that the Lee Sin is just there coupled with the Jace and the LeBlanc to try to let them do their thing, set up lane priority, control stuff, either whether it be the Rift Herald or the Dragons on the right-hand side. And now we're moving into the ban phase. Tom Kench is now banned away.
Yeah, Tom's going to hit the bench, but remember Deft? I feel like Deft has a larger effective champion pool in theory to Teddy, so I don't mind Kingzone going for more 80 carry bans here. I know Teddy does have his Pocket Draven that he can go towards, things like that, but Deft's Jinx is still available, his Civ is still available, all of these pickups that he's played in the past, and Ashes, of course, also there to help figure out where Clid's going to be going here in this draft, but Teddy does have that first priority pick-off, so in theory, Deft should be able to answer. Braum is going to be banned away here, and do they leave the 80 carry pick to last and threaten a Draven, or do they lock away an 80 carry first up here to pick it over Deft, in theory? I mean, there are a lot of questions to be answered here. SKT do have a lot of, I guess, tempo advantage in the draft.
Well, maybe Galio gets banned away here. Instead, actually, it's going to be Kai'Sa.
So all of the standard picks in the 80 carry position have been taken away. Something like a Sivir that was touched a little bit as far as ricochet damage in the early game, but really nothing to write home about, is an option, as the Alistar is being hovered. Definitely a Martyr power pick here. Now what is the Kingzone bottom lane going to look like? Oh, okay, Zyra Khan just straight up in there. And as you can see, Kingzone have said, we don't really care about drafting. We're not about that. We're going to pick our champions, and we're going to play the game. So Zyra Khan, the Lovers duo, is going to be picked up. And we've seen this. We've seen Rakan sneak back, and it's 9.5 that he gets all of his buffs. That's when things start to look good, but we'll still have all of those extra Zyra mechanics.
So the thing here is that if Sivir ends up rounding out the draft, there's two things going on here. Both of these team compositions want to run heads at one another. It's like two gorillas or two bulls just charging head-on at one another. And the difference is, though, is that Kingzone has a little bit more going with them, with the Vladimir and the Xayah, the longer that this thing goes. Yes, Sivir is really scary. The problem is that the champions that surround Sivir, not quite as much comparatively to the Vladimir and the Xayah. So SK Telecom and Kingzone, even though they're on very even footing in the early and the mid transitions, the late game, Kingzone definitely has a little bit of a leg up. But if SKT falls behind, Team Comp has no leg to stand on.
No, but what SKT have done is fashion themselves lanes that should theoretically be in great positions throughout this game, right? So Vladimir in the early game, not going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with Jace. I think now our illustration of Rascal and Khan stepping up is going to be pivotal in how this series is going to go, and especially how this game is going to go, because the Vladimir needs to weather the storm, and Khan needs to put on a hell of amount of pressure to guarantee that SKT can get through with an advantage in the early stages of the game. Because you look at Vlad Xayah, and you're like, well, everyone's going to have a great time. Even Aatrox scales very well. And it's just going to be Karma trying to bridge, trying to wave clear to get that Ardent Sensor onto Deft, and then Deft wins the game for you. And what's Deft been doing? I mean, this guy's moved to 1,000 MVP points out of nowhere for Kingzone.
Well, team compositions are about to go head-to-head. The first Dragon, really important as well.
Well, we'll see what it is going to be, as we got a sneak preview of Summoner's Rift. I believe we're going to head there right now. Kingzone versus SKT, Game 1. See, still SKT tags for now, but will be transitioning into T1 due to that merger with Comcast. That's going to be happening in the summer season, but for now you can still get used to hearing SKT.
Just a second ago I said the first Dragon is very important. However, it is a Cloud Drake. Not very important in the end.
No.
Had that been a Mountain or an Infernal, we could have definitely seen fireworks fly extremely early on.
Well, Deft's going to go back and get his health back. As you can see, top side of the map is being manned by SKT and Kingzone. Jace waiting in the brush, understands that he's going to have a lot more damage advantage, so can play up very aggressively to see whether the Vladimir is going to walk through the river to follow his minion wave. He's most likely not going to, though. Let's see how these lanes go. We're going to be looking for SKT to hit that level 6 on their Lee Sin and really get the fireworks started, but does he actually have the ability to invade here against Cuz in theory, or will this be Cuz having a decent time in the first few levels here on the Aatrox?
Well, we could see some sort of unorthodox start like Clid doing red into Dragon Pit, ward over the wall, and then go for a red buff steal, but given the fact the Faker got shoved in early on, lost priority, Karma's already moving onto the right-hand side, that's definitely not going to be a possibility. But that's actually what that Karma ward is meant to stop, is that exactly Sin Root.
Whoa, early flash out here from Pawn is cleared. He's going to pop on over. Wants to find the Q, but doesn't find it. And that's an empowered Q to follow up there from Pawn. But already, a lot of control in that mid lane is going to be given up as Kingzone being very aggressive down towards the bottom side. That's an ignite onto Pawn, though. You can't do that again! First blood goes over to Clid, as now Cuz wants to find his way forward. The flash, not going to be enough. Has another knock-up, gets it onto Faker, but no vision means no chance. Teleport back from Pawn. He wants us all to forget what just happened, but this became a much harder game for Kingzone.
And this is really interesting right here, because I feel like actually Cuz just dropped a little bit of a ball. He could have stayed in the mid and kept walking at Faker, because Faker had so many minions. It would keep pushing into Pawn, and then Pawn could try to get a freeze in front of the turret. A little bit of a lost opportunity, but SK Telecom picking up the first blood for themselves in that middle lane, getting the LeBlanc rolling. is going to be massive.
Well, at the moment, we're going to look at vertical jungling coming in from both of these junglers. Gromp is going to get pulled down as Cuz wanting to stay in here. Doesn't have flash, remember. Gromp is going to reset, but they really want this dive. They want to take down Teddy with no mana. Underneath this turret, Tucson takes a turret shot for no reason as they dive on forward. That's a great knockup with the pulverize from Mata, who's trying to take control, but Tucson grabs the second kill of the game on the Rakan with the Ignite. And now Teddy's going to get zoned from all of this experience.
He is getting zoned from all of the XP. This is going to be 2 turret plates going down. You can see Deft and Tushin ever so slightly just moving up because Lee Sin is nowhere near. Teddy has to respect it until the minion wave actually thins enough. But I feel like if Aatrox was still here, this could be another potential dive due to the proximity that Alistar was away from the turret. But nonetheless...
Well, this is exactly what we're expecting.
Man.
Oh, okay. Cuz is going to come back over, try and look for something under pawn. Faker's got a huge minion wave, but he somehow just sneaks in all of these chains. Good knockup comes down as Faker. Not going to get pulled back. Doesn't have to invest the distortion either, as the minion wave is going to crash. And now pawn is going to look for a back timing. Itself back into this lane. Not too much of a disaster here as the death timers weren't too bad, but as we see this one again, it's just a bit of a disaster here for Pawn. Unable to break the chains.
Walks right up there, and you can see Clid actually clicked away and then ends up missing the Q, although he would not have wanted to have taken that one anyway. But then he comes right back. He's a glutton for punishment.
Yeah. I don't know. Clid goes down to 100 health, but even after the flash, it's not enough. As SKT fans certainly rejoicing after the first blood goes over their way.
And look at how they end up orchestrating this. You can see Cuz comes in here. He has the aftershock absorbing the turret damage.
Yeah.
And so he's able to tank 2 turret shots for his teammates, and they just set that kill up very clean.
Well, Chalice is now being completed here for Pawn, so he is going to be going into that Athene's on Holy Grail once again. Rascal waiting to try and cheese himself some experience here in the brush. As you can see, no turret plates going down top side of the map. It's a 10 CS advantage for the Jace, but definitely something that we would expect. Bottom side, Deft has a 15 minion lead and 2 turret plates. What do we know from Deft? He's the hard carry for this team. Does 40% of the team's damage. That is a large percentage for one player on a team of 5. So getting him ahead is certainly the Kingzone win condition. But this is what SKT want to do. They're just picking on Pawn. Underneath the turret is Faker, tanking it up. He's capable of doing so for just enough time and even gets the kill credit.
So this is a battle of bot versus mid lane as Deft and Tushin are trying their damnedest right now to accelerate this laning phase as fast as possible. And if they can do that, they can get Pawn out of this nightmare situation that he's in right now as Clid moving down here, trying to maybe provide some pressure relief. Just going to end up actually attacking the control ward.
Yeah, going to clear that one out. Zombie ward is going to take its place there as Rascal sidesteps that one, and that's a good news story here for the Vladimir, transfusing himself back some of his health. This is going to get better for the Vlad in this lane, but at the moment it is certainly bad news. As speaking of bad news, here's the replay.
And it's pretty simple kill, actually. Doesn't end up getting the amplified healing onto Clid. He said, I'll tank, I'll tank. Look. Nice, nice. Let's go bottom and push. Yeah, let's push one wave, or yeah.
I don't know.
Bottom hamba milk.
All right, Marta's going to Hex Flash towards Tucson. Nothing's going to happen. Clid comes on over. He might get another control ward for this one. Aatrox is waiting in the area, though, as it's a good sidestep there from Tucson. That Gleaming Quill actually doing a fair bit of damage to the Lee Sin. As Teddy and Mata, with the help of their jungler, are able to get some lane priority here towards the bottom side of the map. Double longsword to the pickaxe that Deft was able to put together himself early, and you can see Rascal uncomfortably handling this lane, as you might expect. First Dragon looking to be taken here by SKT with all of the control that they've been able to gain for themselves. But a back coming in from Teddy means that it can be a little bit difficult for them to secure this. Half of its health bar down, and no Aatrox to be seen, so this should be an SKT Dragon. And Mata just really likes Hex Flashing, guys.
You know what that Alistar skin reminds me of? Do you remember, is it Sully from Monsters Inc?
Yes!
Oh my god, it's Sully!
It's super good.
They should make a, so what's the name of the girl from Monsters Inc?
Oh, I don't know her name, but she's adorable.
Trying to think.
Wait. Do they call her Boo?
Is it Boo?
Because she says Boo at the beginning of the show.
They need to make a Nunu and Willem skin that looks like that.
Oh, yes.
Sully and Boo.
That is brilliant.
Oh my! And then they can have the ball be the green guy, Mike.
Mike Wazowski.
Yeah. Just keep making it bigger. We got the best skin ideas here.
Oh
at the
man,
LCK.
we certainly do. We certainly do.
All right.
They're certainly better than Kingzone's ability to stop turret plates from falling down top side of the map, as Rascal has been in purgatory. Not a good time. Is cleared. Oh, I thought he was going to go for a blue steal, but that's not how that one's going to go, as he safeguards out of the way of the Q as well. That's an easy turret plate to go over. So both of the members of SKT, this pawn stopped having fun a long time ago in this lane. And he even just says, like, nah, man, if I take a blue, I'm just giving it to Faker, I guess. As Khan tanks the turret shot, you can see Rascal in a world of hurt.
And Rascal definitely even messing up some of his CS right there. Khan is just... He's basically like a car that's heads down a one-way street. If you stand in this way...
Yeah. Cuz is here at the right time, but Rascal, does he actually have the health bar? Nope. Can't even Sanguine pull in time. Oh my goodness. Teleport from Pawn is also very late, and you can understand Kingzone's reasoning. They think that a Sanguine pull will keep him alive for at least, you know, a few seconds.
Oh, no, for sure. They're definitely thinking, okay, this is a really easy setup for us. Cuz is right on the horizon. Rascal, if he just pulls, this could end up being quite well. He uses the Q on the minion. Goes for the R. Yeah, he goes for the Hemoplague before pressing W. Cuz was right on the horizon. Very unfortunate. And bottom lane, they almost have 3 plates.
And that's the greedy play as well, right? Getting the Hemoplague down first means that you get a bit of extra damage, but it means that that animation has to come in when you could be pressing your W. And unfortunately, he's not able to hit the W in time after that one completes. So an easy kill there for Cleared, but still very cleanly Sin play. Fantastic stuff. From SKT, beginning of this game, 3-1 is the kill score. And the gold is starting to become a problem here for Kingzone. Bottom side of the map means Civ is just happy to scale, right? Like, she's going to be buying items. Things are going to be fine. When can they leverage a winning bottom lane? I'm just not entirely sure.
Not entirely sure either, Atlas, as bottom is almost down 40 CS and 2 plates, but the problem is that top lane is hemorrhaging. And also mid lane is also slowly getting chipped away at and losing in the CS department. 2 minutes until Mountain. Look at what is happening up here.
Yeah, and it's this what we were talking about at the beginning, right? Can Khan destroy his lane to the level where Rascal's going to be irrelevant for the majority? And the answer's looking very close to yes, because we don't see a Fiendish Codex. We see an arm guard needing to be forced. Rascal trying desperately to get to that level 9 where he can have a few extra transfuses, but honestly it feels like the damage has been done in a lot of ways. All of the turret plates have been eaten by the Jace. And remember, guys, this is the original Jace player of the LCK.
This is Khan.
He is the Jace player.
I heard, you know, this didn't really happen, but I was talking to talking to Khan once. I asked what his English name was. He said Jace.
Aha. Look, you shouldn't have just said that was a lie. You should have waited until afterwards, because I think a lot of people would have believed you. Because he's pretty damn good at the old Jace and played a heck of a lot of it when he first made his way into the LCK. Cleared, I think I've seen this one before, but there's vision this time. Rascal immediately gives up this turret. That's going to be first turret blood going down at 12 minutes into this game.
Okay. Well, that Jace is a big boy.
He is a very big boy. You're exactly right. As Cuz takes a hell of a lot of damage from that distortion after the Q. And Fake is going to go on back. No worries about the Infernal Chains whatsoever. And that means Shelly is in the realm of SKT. It's not like this is uncontestable by Kingzone. This is like Shelly was parked in SKT's base with how much control they have topside of the map.
I found out Shelly's last name.
What is it?
It's Rivers.
Shelly Rivers? Oh my god, that is beautiful. That is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. Little Mr. Scuttle Rivers.
Oh, little Scuttly Rivers. That's adorable. Faker actually taking a fair bit of damage here. Will augment that with the turret shot.
Do you know what that means, though?
What does that mean?
Well, who's the River King?
Tom Kench? Oh, is he a member of the family? He's like the estranged uncle or something like that.
Tom Kench. I mean, Shelly is his wife now.
Oh, right, okay.
Scuttle Crab
the
is
little
Tom's offspring. That's why the little antennas are there. And, you know, like the catfish. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know either, but I feel like I think you're onto something, but your brain isn't working fast enough. It's like we're making this huge realization, this huge understanding of League of Legends lore, but we don't even know how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Oh, man. You ever been down Tom's stomach?
No, I haven't. I never want to. I have in-game, but just personally, not so much. Tom's wild ride is... Speaking of wild rides, Tucson's going to face check one. Gleaming Quill is going to connect. And no vision for SKT, as Mata didn't have time to get that flash in there. An empowered recall coming in from Clid, so he's going to give up the Ghost on this one. And the Xayah Rakan are going to back together. Go and get some items. And this is the problem, right? I mean, you accelerate a Xayah lane, she gets a really early Essence Reaver that, yes, feels really good. However, you're not exactly one-item power spike ultimate territory. You're, I can sustain in lane really, really well territory. And I can hold on to mid lane outer turret very, very well territory. But it's not, I'm going to win more type situation, as Cuz is going to lock down another blue buff. Doesn't feel that great for Pawn, but he's got an Athene's on Holy Grail. Mana's not too much of an issue here for the Karma.
Right now, 3.5 minutes roughly, or just a little bit over that, until the Infernal Dragon is going to come up. They're actually just keeping Jace up in the top lane. And probably just going to keep him there to try to keep drawing pressure. As long as the vision control is really good on the left-hand side blue jungle, SK Telecom with the mid priority, Jace isn't able to be punished for being that far up inside of the lane. So 3,000 gold lead here for them at 15 minutes. And we talked about how both of these teams, they want to explode, they want to go off. We also mentioned how Xayah is one of the key components. It's one of the saving graces on the side of Kingzone.
Yeah.
Depth is the only thing keeping Kingzone in this game right now.
And the question is whether that's going to be enough. Right now, it's feeling like a no at this point, honestly, with Rascal getting shoved over and over again by Khan. Khan's also eating the jungle of Aatrox, so Cuz only has one quadrant available to himself. There are a lot of spillover effects that really do happen here, and you can see Kingzone understand that. They're trying to push this advantage bottom lane as hard as they possibly can, knowing that Lee Sin's waiting in the mid lane. Shelly is going to be successfully spawned, and Khan's going to come on over. Oh my god, Cuz has to World Ender, does get it off in time, but that means that Shelly easily takes down the outer turret. Things are going bad to worse for Kingzone. This early game composition from SKT piloted with aplomb by these guys.
And Shelly is actually going to get another charge. So nice bit of chip damage there onto the mid-tier 2 turret as all of the members of SK Telecom.
And this is what happens, right? You win the rest of the map. It doesn't matter how far ahead your bottom lane is. We've all been in these games where you feel like, you know, you duo with your friend, you've smashed your lane, but you haven't looked up and seen the scoreboard at 0-10 at 15 minutes, and you're like, oh no, the mid lane is now here with a 16 level advantage on me.
You know what I think that Deft is saying to himself right now? But I don't think he realizes he's playing in the LCK. I think he's saying right now, reset ranked. Probably what he's feeling like right about now.
Right.
So, Deft is the one thing, I said this just a moment ago, the next team fight, which I'm assuming will have it at the Infernal Dragon, Kingzone are so far behind, and you don't want to just give over the Infernal to Sivir LeBlanc, Lee Sin, and Jace.
Oh, no.
So, there will definitely be Kingzone trying to contest SK Telecom at that, or vice versa, and whatever happens in that fight likely actually dictates the pace of the entire rest of the game, as weird as that is.
Well, we'll see whether they can actually get themselves into position. At the moment, you can see so many deep wards on this bottom side of the map, as the big chicken will be taken there by Pawn, so he gets the value. But Faker easily able to just dart over there and mimic distortion his way into a bit of money with the popcorn chickens. Khan will move back into the enemy jungle, and he's keeping it as barren as possible. Cuz somehow does still have a CS advantage in the jungle matchup, but
oh no,
Pawn standing this far up is a bad news story as he gets the back end of the shock blast, which is not something you'd expect.
Oh!
And that's a steal from Faker. He's got the burst damage, and Def not going to get that red buff.
All right, well, once we hit tab again, I just want to point something out, as we cannot see the items in CS right now of all the champions. Instead, we are getting a very wide view. This is very pretty. Summoner's Rift is an excellent looking map.
It is a lovely map, isn't it?
It's very beautiful, actually. I would like to live there.
So would SKT, and they're going to own the whole thing as well. They've certainly got the gigantic studio apartment here as Tusin's going to make his way in good quickness. He's going to get a lot of connections. Featherstorm very early on, mostly for damage now, but it's Mata that's tanking everything up. Clid wants to find his way forward, does have a Q onto Pawn, but not going to use it. As now Rascal gets his way into the teamfight. Faker into the backline. Rascal's going to burn down, but no! The Battle Dance is going to keep him alive, and now the Lee Sin going to be the first one to fall. Tusin dashing over the wall, and finally it's Khan with no mana. The last Shock Blast evens out the kill trade.
And now they find where Faker is. Rascal managing to live there was really key and crucial. Faker, wow.
Those chains.
I think Kingzone won themselves the Infernal, although Khan, he has teleport.
He might be able to make his way back in here. Cuz does have the smite as Faker. So much damage. They do lose the Infernal, but Faker gets so much work done. That's the wrong LeBlanc. They're following it forward as Pawn has a huge shield. Deft flashes. He's playing this fight as well as he can, but look at the health bar advantage. It's just too big for SKT as Rascal doesn't get the transfusion heal, and Khan comes in, like you say, with the teleport and the cleanup.
And this is a massive swing, but right now SK Telecom, they're going to try to stabilize and fix all the lanes, get them pushing into Kingzone. However, the Infernal, that's the scaling that they will need. We take a look at how this all starts. Tushin locks up Mata, not quite the champion that you want to be locking up, as he's very tanky. Khan dishing out massive amounts of damage. Clid right there with the Dragon Kick, and then Faker coming in, trying to get Rascal, who's saved the last second by the Rakan. And then the remainder of this fight is it looks like Kingzone is going to be able to successfully burst down the Infernal, but obviously not without one last parting gift, which was Faker coming in here trying to pop Cuz as fast as he could.
The three-man Mimic Distortion was just disgusting stuff from Faker. And this is the point where everybody else comes back and SKT just clean up. But the Dragon does go over to Kingzone.
Right.
And is that going to be enough to keep them in the game? We'll have to wait and see, because SKT are pretty good at snowballing advantages in the early game. We saw at Kesper Cup almost, I'd say that was probably the best example of it in their first few games, where it feels like 22 minutes in and you have absolutely no chance in hell. But Kingzone to be playing much better over recent weeks, so probably not just going to fall over here, despite their 0-3-2 Karma in the mid lane.
And right now, 4,000, a little bit over a 4,000 gold lead here for SKT. And again, the Xayah is the really key component for the Kingzone roster. She does have 2 core items completed. The Infernal Drake is something that can prove to be very powerful if Kingzone can just hold on for another 10 minutes or so. SK Telecom were not the ones that got the Mountain Drake. They do not have the insane super quick Baron burst potential just yet at almost 22 minutes here. And Kingzone can be comfortable knowing that they rolled really good on the next Dragon because it's a Cloud Drake.
Yeah, and also they've got Pawn that's just picked up Ardent Sensor, and of course his Athens on Holy Grail was already built, so it actually doesn't matter what his scoreline is. He's able to give Deft exactly what Deft wants in order to try and carry a team fight in this game. And SKT doesn't have a true frontline to deal with an AD carry like this. They don't have that kind of team fight composition. They've got a, we're going to smash you in the early game, and we're going to keep smashing you across the map, and you'll never have a true 5v5 on even footing at any stage of this game. And that could still happen. That is still certainly what is on the cards for both of these teams. But Kingzone do have a very terrifying team fight if, once again, that is how the game is going to look.
A little bit of a lull state occurring as Khan is making his way down into bottom. Faker laying in wait for whatever sad soul might try to come and contest Khan, but doesn't look like they're interested in that. I think they just want to turn their attention to the red buff.
Yep, they should be able to take that one for themselves as soon as it spawns, up in a couple of seconds. We'll be able to grab that one. Brambleback, welcome to Summoner's Rift. You're going to be eradicated very, very soon, as Faker thinks that he's the one that wants to take it. Sivers towards the top side of the map. Rascal's going to miss cannon creep. That feels real bad, but the rest of the game feels worse. So at least take some solace in that one, mate. Khan's going to jump on over. Tides of Blood doesn't connect onto him. As when do we ever see a point this game where Vladimir can stand toe-to-toe against the Jace? I know I've read the book. You know, it says Vladimir scales good into late game. But how far behind does he have to be for him to never be relevant in this game? Because right now, it is a kill, 2 assists, and 60 CS. And that feels like he's not coming back anytime soon.
And talking about coming back, by the way, look at the CS gap now between Deft and Teddy. It's almost non-existent at this point. And this was after coming out of a laning phase, 40, 50 CS ahead of his opponent.
Teddy also got the kill on Deft in the last teamfight as well, so he should be ahead. Global gold advantage certainly there for SKT with all of the turret plates they took, as well as the 3 turrets that they were able to gather for themselves. Teddy himself not getting those turret plates, which is why you see the items being, earlier on was in favor of Deft, but Teddy had the earlier back timing. Xayah now moving towards this top outer turret. We'll see where things are going to go as this game moves forward. A second Cloud Drake is going to spawn. Kingzone getting the 2 high-value ones so far, but having a little bit of extra rotational prowess is certainly good. As Kingzone thinking about lying in wait on the top side as they look for this outer turret.
And right now, Cloud Drake being consumed by the Lee Sin as the mid tier 2 turret.
That's it.
Yeah, that one is going bye-bye. But on the flip side, top tier 1, Deft and Tushin doing their best to try to raise that quickly as Jace is making very quick work of this bottom tier 2 turret. Ends up whiffing.
Well, Khan's going to start the 1v1 here as Klid is going to join in. Rascal took so much damage there, and I'm surprised he didn't actually fall down as Marta thinking about going in. You could see it. You could read it on the way he was tiptoeing back and forth.
Teddy ends up stopping the recall of Deft and Tushin, and that's actually really big for the priority. It means that they get down into bottom lane a little bit later. Gives Klid and Khan a lot more comfort in doing this, and now Klid probably just going to rotate back and take down the Scuttle Crab. Turtle Drake is coming up next.
So that's going to be the next one in line.
What do you want to talk about?
I was just going to ask about what you would turn this Null Magic Mantle into in the back pocket of Deft, because there's just not a lot of QSS-able stuff. So do you think about a Hex Drinker this game?
Oh, that's interesting. I actually don't know what he wants to turn that into, truthfully.
Oh, Deft.
I suppose Hex Drinker is all that you really do need. I think that he's just going to hold on to the Null Magic Mantle because, for the most part, it gives you the same magic resist, just minus the active.
Yeah, for the QSS?
For Hex Drinker.
Oh, sorry, for Hex Drinker.
Yeah.
But the active does give mitigate. It's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
How that works out. But you're right.
You know.
I think having magic resist, definitely good when Faker is popping
LeBlanc,
people so incredibly powerfully at this point in time. But whether or not you're going to get much QSS value is the real question here, because their CC is largely knockbacks and knockups as Rascal goes gold. Press the wrong item button there, as you could see, because he put down a control ward eventually.
Not really sure what this Karma build is.
This is, I'm a support, guys. See, it's okay that I died 3 times in lane.
It almost feels like if you were going to do this, then you should have done the... well, no, never mind, actually. I was going to say, if you were going to do this, then you should have at least gotten Death Cap second, so that you would still have some sort of utility for your AP, and then also the wave clear.
Greeds for another wave as Tucson does lock down Klid. Not a chance there, but he now doesn't have his ultimate available. Faker dives on forward. The chains are going to land, but Deft is going to survive for the moment. Teleport to come in here from the Karma, but the Vladimir stays bottom side of the map with his teleport in hand.
And they're already done with the fight when that teleport was coming in. Karma could be where she is right now had Pawn just run there in the first place. So now SK Telecom, they're turning their attention onto the middle lane, escorting that cannon minion forward.
I like this. Running Kingzone around the map, though, because they do not want to have a straight-up team fight, as that Shock Blast did land.
That's too much damage. Yeah, Deft's out of the fight. I think that they're just going to be able to start the Baron, but
it's turns out
redemption. Karma, yeah, that was a big redemption.
That was a big redemption.
That was a very... That was like a...
Rascal. Okay, there's the kick flash. As Rascal does get the Hemo Plague down. The rest of SKT not in position. He wants Phase Rush to get himself moving here. As the pull comes in, Clid almost loses his GA. The flash from Rascal, and that's the merry dance from SKT completed by Faker. Like to call that the pirouette at the very end, and they do secure the kill on the Vladimir.
So the thing about killing the Vladimir right here is that it comes at the cost of 2 summoner spells. Now, yes, Rascal had just used his flash as well, but you're not netting yourself an objective over it because Vlad will be up for the Infernal. He would be up if you would try to go to the Baron because he has teleport. So even though Faker gets the kill, it's basically just a consolation prize that's 300 gold at the expense of both of his summoners. And so that's not something that I think that Kingzone is necessarily angry with. You can see right here, Rascal almost able to bring Lee Sin down. He flashes, but then Faker, not wanting to let him get away, flashes and ignites as well. But if you're Rascal, you look at that and you're like, wait a minute, I actually just got him to use both the summoners.
Yeah, and also they got the summoner spell out of Lee Sin as well.
Right.
I mean, no more kick flashes for the next 5 minutes is great news for Kingzone. And as this game stalls out, as this game keeps going, you've got Infinity Edge on Deft. He is that hard carry that you're looking for, augmented by a Karma that this Sivir does not have. The cohesion of the Kingzone teamfighting composition is certainly there. SKT, they have the money advantage, but not the Dragon advantage, and also not the teamfighting advantage. So split push certainly there for SKT. They do have multiple win conditions, but it does rely on a lot more things than just Kingzone's I want to run at you and we'll win type composition.
The other thing that SK Telecom has to be really afraid of right here is that Kingzone can just try the Baron because they have that Mountain Drake.
And they have a lot of shields. On the Hunt was popped very prematurely there as Rascal was in position. That's an odd one. Teddy sort of a bit of a frisky button choice.
That was very premature.
Okay, Faker pops on over. They know that Rascal is here. That Shock Blast, if that had landed,
yeah,
that could have meant a lot more, but they will still break open the base. This is just a far better movement decision from SKT, and maybe the Cloud Drakes putting in a bit of work. Faker going to take a bit of damage on the back end, but Inhibitor is down. That is damage done. Infernal Drake available. SKT looking to head over there.
And now you can see that Kingzone probably just going to beeline to the Baron, but I think that they're a little bit too late on pulling the trigger.
So much damage out of SKT right there. And now they're going to be able to Cloud Drake their way back to the Baron pit. This will be a 50-50 if it's going to get started.
Yeah.
Def takes a while to get in there. Rascal's going to be here at the pit. They've also got Khan on the bottom side of the map. SKT just needs to go for a steal or try and get some damage down. He's inside the pit, but it's Cuz that grabs it. Clid down to his GA, and if SKT are able to win this fight, it's game over, but Kingzone might have another chance. Yeah, looking to try and stop him. The Jace is going to be able to break the next inhibitor, and now Cuz has to flash to get out of the way. That's the knock-up. They now want to win the fight, but look at this. Kingzone are not going back. That's redemption to come forward, but not redemption for the game. Teleport now to come in for the flank for Khan. Faker doing so much in the backline. He might die, but he's done so much. And there it is. Khan just says no to any victory for Kingzone in this game.
And this game is so all over the place. Khan went bottom. He got the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor to boot. Faker, that was some smoke and mirrors LeBlanc gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
Able to keep Kingzone, trying to keep getting a little bit more. They stopped their Baron enhanced recalls because Khan had already done the damage. He had just missed the chains onto Rascal, preventing that back. Had Faker hit that, maybe we would have seen some Nexus turrets go down. We'll take another quick look at it right here. Clid goes in for the steal a little bit early. He ends up being brought down, loses his Guardian Angel. Rakan goes down on the right-hand side. You can see right here, Faker trying to stop the Vladimir from being able to recall. It's at this point that Vlad already had the base under control, so Pawn and Def, they stopped their recalls. Cuz trying to come in here, they end up picking the kill up onto Mata, and then the exhaust comes out onto Faker, but it wasn't until he already dealt a lot of damage. He gets right back in there onto Def, lives with just a sliver of HP.
And dodges the final Q. Yeah. That was absolutely stunning. Great that the Observers caught that second time around. Coma, you can see his face. Zephyr, of course, always stalwart. He's always, he needs the game to be over before he actually shows any emotion, but you can see Chroma very happy with how things have been going so far. 12 kills to 5. Finally, an Infernal Drake picked up by SKT, so that Drake advantage certainly there now. And it's a 6,000 gold lead. Could be higher, but it's the state of the map, and it's the state of the play from SKT that we really need to talk about here, because they know that their composition, does not team fight as well as Kingzone's front to back in any way.
Yeah.
They've got a Vladimir, they've got Hemo Plague, they've got that buffing Death's damage, they've got Pawn, only there to buff Death's damage. If Death is able to free hit ever, he almost two-shots every member of SKT, no worries. So, SKT just playing completely around that, because he's also not very mobile. So you just fight where he's not, and that's how you're going to be able to win this game. So at the moment, we've got minion waves flooding towards Kingzone. Game
Baron.
not over yet, but it just feels like it's not going to work. Kingzone did get the Baron, like you say, so that is the good news story.
Elder now, though, coming up in a minute and a half. Baron is about to persist in about to expire in 30 seconds. As Khan is trying to make his way into the base here. Rascal doing everything he can to slow down the advancement.
And this is the closest to 0 on a Baron power play I have ever seen. Death finishes off that minion wave, so that's why it says 100, but now Khan's going to hit one down, and this could be double digits Baron power play. 1 gold.
1 gold.
1 gold Baron power play, everyone. That's what we're talking about. That's called equilibrium. I loved it. You said that, you know, the Jin Air win rate is throwing off the balance. If anything is going to restore balance, it is a 1 gold Baron power play.
That's what I like.
That's amazing. Some great stuff. Speaking of great stuff, it's this guy on your screen right here. Khan going from an incredible series against Gen G last time out and only making it better on this Jace.
I want to say that I'm impressed with his Jace performance this game, but I really can't bring myself to say it. He only has 403 CS here at 35 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely palpable.
Yeah, paltry. Because look at Deft. He's 415 right now. Much better. Much better.
Like, can you just maybe do better?
Yeah. Please upgrade your play.
Yeah. I'd expect 500 right now.
I also wouldn't expect a 0 in the scoreline.
Yeah. What is this?
You might say that it's in the death column, but I just think all stats are good stats.
You told me he was the OG Jace, and I just can't see it.
Sarcasm, everyone, just so you know. Just don't angry tweet LS saying, no, he's played really well, guys. He is, and we know that. That's why he's going to take the last remaining inhibitor on the base. As the Elder Drake has been started, back is going to come in. The Lovers duo are going to try and get back home, and SKT think, why are we even doing this, Elder Drake, when we could just win the game? And they're just toying with Kingzone right now. Kingzone just wants one team fight. They just want to be able to team fight that one time. But I have a feeling they're not going to be able to. There is a Vladimir now trying to stop these Nexus turrets from going down. Kingzone knew that they were going to have to sacrifice something. And right now, Klid's actually looking for a steal. It's a 50-50. It's taken by Karma of all people, but he had the unsealed spellbook. But look at SKT. They're now in the base, and it's only Rascal that's underneath these turrets trying to take them down.
Mata.
He needs to throw out the Hemo Plague. The flash forward. Teddy is taking so much damage. Teleport comes down, but it's going to get cancelled because the Nexus turret's going to go down. And they just trade an Elder Drake for a Nexus.
That is a trade I can get behind.
Absolutely. I love Elder Drakes.
I do too.
No, just kidding. That was absolutely phenomenal map play from SKT. Demonstrated from go to woe that game, and that was exactly how it felt for Kingzone fans. They were ran around the map, and it was SKT understanding exactly what their composition did, what it did well, playing to that win condition to a T. That was glorious League of Legends.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And Deft and Tushen, they were doing fantastic down in bottom. They were putting in so much effort. It's not very often that you see Teddy put 6 feet under in the bottom lane, but it just wasn't enough because top and mid were put 12 feet under.
Precisely.
So a little bit more problematic.
And also Faker's LeBlanc finding some redemption. Yeah. We saw it played earlier on, and it didn't actually work out. You know, Faker's LeBlanc has been, you know, up and down here and there in 2019. In years gone by, of course, probably some of the best League of Legends play we'd ever seen. However, this series felt like the champion that Faker hadn't been allowed to play because he was on what? How long was he sitting at 100% win rate on the champion?
He had like an
over a
Undertaker
year
streak
going
on.
And it was broken only by that pesky Morgana in 2015. But ever since then, you know, after that one blip in the radar, he continued winning. His LeBlanc has always been terrifying. So fantastic to see him back to form against the rival that did put that blip in the radar.
In Khan's performance this series, Khan on carries, Khan on tanks.
Yeah, but now SKT are playing around a split-pushing Khan, and they're doing it well. Yeah. And that's what I absolutely love, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see them play to, you know, theoretically, Khan was like the weak link, but that was because they were playing team compositions that didn't play to what his strengths were. Play to this guy that's happy to pressure lane over and over again. It's like Sandbox. Dumb on Gaming with Nogari towards the top side of the map. You play around that guy, that's when the team looks really, really good. And as you can see, the stat line is going to demonstrate exactly that. It was a linear gold graph, a blip here and there for when Tucson got some decent Rakan engages, but this isn't the improved Rakan. This is nerfed into the ground, not even barely a champion Rakan. And even with his Zyra in the backport, oh god, yeah, but I mean, he probably had more damage items. He probably had more damage items than Pawn did as well. Third item, Redemption Karma.
Well, listen, who do you give the MVP? I'm actually a little bit undecided. Is it Faker or is it Khan?
I don't know. I'd probably give it to Khan, personally, because he broke open the base and destroyed things, but we'll have to find out. During the break, ladies and gentlemen, best of 3 series. Can SKT close it out? We'll find out after this.